Hi, welcome to class. Thank you for tuning in. So this is a quick just reset for your feet and lower legs, a bit of attention for an area of body that maybe we might neglect a little bit. But if you spend a lot of time sitting, shoved under your desk maybe, or perhaps you have a job where you're on your feet all day, maybe you spend a lot of time running, cycling, walking, maybe swimming. This area of your body maybe would enjoy getting some love. So I have got a pair of massage balls. These are ones from my teacher, Jill Miller. They're called Yoga TuneUp balls. If you have anything similar, or perhaps just a pair of tennis balls and a sock, that will work. I've also got a blanket with me. So let's start with just one of the balls. And we're going to put it underneath your right heel and then squash it with your heel. So if this gets wobbly, you might want to be near a wall so you can put your hand on your wall for support. And then I'm going to release the pressure a little bit, roll the ball slightly forwards. So it's maybe kind of just in front of heel, and then again, squash down. So this might be starting to get into the place where you get a bit of sensation in your body. I know for me, I'm getting quite a lot of feedback right now from my feet. And then I'm going to roll further still. So maybe it feels like now I'm in the middle of my foot and kind of squash down. And roll a little bit further forward. So now I'm underneath the ball of my foot. That's the wide part just below your toes. Squash that down. It might be that your foot's looking a little bit distorted as the tissues, the bones kind of spread around the shape of the ball. And then roll, so it almost just looks like your toes are kind of gripping onto the ball, and squash. Great. And then let's go back to your heel again. Press down. Imagine there's a line going from your heel towards your big toe. I want you to roll the ball along that line towards big toe, and then back to heel. Okay. And then we'll go from heel to second toe. Oh. And then back again. And we'll just keep rolling up and down. So you're sort of tracing a line to each toe and back again. Obviously, the ball isn't mega accurate. So, I mean, unless you've got a very small ball or very wide toes, you're not going to be rolling to just one toe in particular. Just kind of tracing our way, like almost in a zigzag, up and down the soles of your feet. Great. And then I'm going to position myself. So the ball's on the floor. My heel is on the floor as close as I can get it to the ball. So from the side, it looks like that. I'm going to press down. My heel stays exactly where it is, but I pivot on my heel. So my toes are going to turn out and the ball gets kind of squashed towards the inner arch of my foot. And then I'll pick up and reset, squash down, turn my toes out. And then keep resetting. So it's like you're trying to kind of squash the soft stuff on the sole of your feet towards inner arch. And then out. And then let's do that the other way. So press down. This time you're going to swivel on your heel, turn your toes into the ball, kind of squishes towards the outer edge of your foot. Great. And then simply just come to stand. You might maybe close your eyes or look down at the floor and just feel your feet. So how do your two feet feel compared to each other? Which parts of your feet are in contact with the floor? The foot that I've just rolled, for me, it feels almost kind of softer and like more of it's in contact with the floor, like there's a soft pad under my feet. Whereas the one that I haven't rolled, it feels like there's more kind of angular parts where I feel like my heel and different bones pressing down. That's just an example. That might not be how you experience it. So let's go to the other foot, starting with heel and just squash down. And then roll forwards a bit and squash. Roll forwards a little bit more and squash. And just keep going with that. So for me, I'm underneath the ball of my foot now. That's the wide part. And now just my toes are almost gripping on and squashing. And then I'm going to trace those lines again from heel towards big toe and back. And then towards second toe and back. It's kind of zigzagging in and out. Yeah, if the ball like pinged across the room, that's pretty normal. They can be hard to control. And then when you feel like you've maybe covered most of the surface of the sole of your foot, have the ball, place your heel on the floor as close to the ball as you can get it so that your heel is actually on the floor. Press down, swivel on your heel, turn your toes out so the ball squashes to the inside of your foot. Oh, that brings out quite a lot of sensation for me. Then reset, do that a couple more times. Great. And then we'll go the other way. Press down, roll to outer edge of foot, and then reset. So you're just swiveling on your heel and toes are turning in. So the ball is squashed to the outside of your foot. Great. And then come to stand, maybe close your eyes. Feel how your 2 feet feel now. Like, what do you feel underneath feet? Which parts of you are touching the floor? Okay. And then we'll come down to all fours, tuck your toes under, and just press back towards your heels. So it might be that being like this is just plenty for your feet. If so, fine, just stay as you are. If you feel like you could do with a bit more pressure, then you might walk your hands in towards you and sit up on heels. If you get here and your feet are like, no way, then put your hands back down on the floor again. Wherever you are, a couple of slow breaths here if possible. And then let's release that. And grab your other ball. Have them both in the sock or the little container that you've got. And see if you can have like a little gap between them in their container. Locate your big shin bone. And what we're going to do is roll up and down above that shin bone. So come to all fours. If you're wearing trousers, you can pull up, or shorts, all good. And then rest kind of just below your knee so that your shin bone is in the nook in between the balls. And then super simply just roll up and down. So for me, like my toes point fairly easily, so I can make this shape reasonably easily. If your toes don't point as much as mine and you're finding that your foot's getting jammed on the floor, you might want to put like a block or perhaps a couple of books that you're rolling on so that your foot hangs off the edge of the block or books. So you're able to roll with your foot in more this shape rather than pointing. Okay. And then try turning your toes out a little, leg out, so you're maybe getting more towards inside of shin. And then down the middle again. And then toes turn in a little bit, trying to get more towards outer shin. So for me, I'm going to just shift my position a little bit up. Lifting my other knee allows me to get more towards outside of shin. Okay. And then let's flip over and do the same thing for your calf muscles. So you're sitting on your bum, propped up on your hands. You can use your other leg for support and just roll up and down a couple of times. Try turning toes in a little bit. That's going to get more towards inner layer of calf. Inner area of calf, sorry. And then Turning toes out a little, that's getting more towards outside. If that isn't enough pressure, you could try crossing your other leg on top, so your whole body weight is on the balls. For me, I gotta be honest, that's a bit much. So I'm gonna keep my other foot on the floor. And then come to rest in just what feels like the bulkiest bit of your calves. Just point and flex your foot a couple of times. Maybe draw a few circles. Okay. And then let's switch to the other leg. So come into all fours again. Locating your big shin bone and resting your shin on the balls so that the bone is kind of in the nook between them, and simply roll up and down. Remembering that if this is too much, then you just don't press as hard. So you're in charge of how much sensation you're getting. If it's too much, rest more lightly on the balls. And if you're not doing it already, same as we did on the other side, toes can turn out a little bit. So you're getting more towards inner portion of shin. And then you can turn your leg in a little bit to get towards more outer portion of shin. For me, I find that too difficult to do, my bottom knee on the floor. But if I come up onto my tiptoes, other foot, it allows me to be more on like outer part of my shin. And I feel the pressure from that all the way down into my feet, to my toes. And then flipping over to backside lower leg, your calf muscles. Same thing, just a little roll up and down. And switching around the angles that you're getting into. You can use your toes as a guide. Turn toes out to get more towards outer calf. And then turn toes in for get more towards inner calf. And then pause with just the bulky part of calf muscle on the balls, and just draw some circles with your foot. Again, if you need more pressure here, you just cross the other leg over for a bit more weight and draw circles. And then let's remove the balls. Last thing. Come to sit with your feet in front of you so you can see them. You can see your toes with your index fingers. Wiggle in between, wiggle your index fingers in the gap between your big toe and your second toe. So that's, for most people, that's reasonably easy. Now see if you can get your middle finger a little bit or a lot in the gap between the second and third toe. And how about ring finger in the next gap? Maybe, maybe not. And how about little finger in the next gap? And then with your toes, grip hold of your fingers. And then release. One more time, grip hold of your fingers. And release. Great. And just untangle yourself. Maybe observe your feet. Your toes might look a little more spread than normal. Perhaps come up to stand. Again, either close your eyes or gaze low. And just feel your feet on the floor. Notice perhaps that you can feel your toes, the soles of your feet, lower legs, maybe more than you can in just kind of day-to-day life. Say thank you to feet for carrying you through your life, carrying you through your day. I hope that your feet are now feeling good, and I will see you soon. Thank you very much.